I sat down at dinner, and my wife giggled while texting. I glanced over and saw, "I miss you too." I asked who it was. She froze, then said, "Just a friend." But hours later, she regretted lying. Secrets were exposed, her excuses fell apart, and in that moment, I realized my marriage was over. Then, her lover called, and what he said left shock. I've been married to my wife for 7 years, and we met 8 years ago at a church meeting, where we quickly became friends. My wife is a quiet, kind, and beautiful woman, any man's dream, so it was no surprise that I fell for her right away. However, she always seemed reserved, rarely showing affection, avoiding cuddling, and only occasionally kissing me. We both grew up in Christian families in a deeply religious part of our country, but unlike me, her parents strictly adhered to the holy doctrine. Because of that, she was raised with very traditional beliefs about religion and a woman's role, so I assumed her behavior stemmed from that upbringing. Sometimes, she seems almost robotic, polite and kind to everyone, yet I've occasionally caught her staring into space as if lost in thought or completely detached. Over the years, I accepted this as just part of her personality since she always refused to see a psychologist, insisting that she was simply like that. But everything changed 2 months ago when she learned that her best friend from high school was moving back to town. I've never seen her so happy and full of life. I was genuinely happy for her, thinking she just needed a close female friend. Before, my wife rarely left the house, but ever since this woman returned, she has been going out as often as possible. She's changed, but in a positive way, she seems more alive than ever. Honestly, I've never seen her smile as much as when she talks about meeting her friend for coffee. For the record, I'm certain she's not cheating, she's terrible at lying, and her behavior towards me hasn't changed. I won't lie, lately, I've started feeling jealous. This woman seems to be the reason my wife is suddenly so happy, constantly checking her phone and making plans. Out of curiosity, 3 days ago, I looked at her Facebook profile. Some of her photo albums were public, and I found old pictures from their high school days. In those photos, the two of them looked more like a couple, hugging closely, holding hands, and smiling at each other in a way my wife never does with me. Her family is strongly against homosexuality, and while my wife has never spoken badly about LGBTQ+ people, she has always avoided the topic, which now makes sense to me. I don't know if I should confront her because maybe I'm overthinking things, or maybe she's in love with her ex-girlfriend. The only thing I know for sure is that she only seems truly happy when talking about this woman. I don't know what to do. Edit. Apologies for any mistakes, English is not my first language. Update. Thanks for the advice on my previous post. Although I didn't receive many replies, everyone was kind and supportive. I decided to confront my wife about the high school photos with her friend. Most people in the comments reassured me that they were probably just close friends, which helped ease my mind and made me think I was overreacting. But when I showed her the photos, she started breathing rapidly, what seemed like a panic attack. I helped her calm down, but she quickly became upset, accusing me of snooping on her friend's Facebook. I knew she was trying to change the subject, something she often does, so I got serious and told her we needed to talk. After several long minutes of her dodging the conversation, she finally admitted the truth. She and her friend were, in fact, a couple in high school. They had known each other since kindergarten and kept their relationship a secret, pretending to be just best friends. But when my wife's parents found out, they beat her and forcibly separated them. Her friend moved to the capital that same year, and they never saw each other again, but, as my wife revealed, they never stopped loving each other. At some point during the conversation, my wife stopped referring to her friend by name and unconsciously started calling her mi amor. That hurt because, in all our years of marriage, she never once called me that. I asked her if she was cheating, and she insisted they never kissed or did anything physical. But I'm certain she's emotionally cheating. She doesn't even understand the concept, so she genuinely believes she hasn't done anything wrong. Her friend never wanted to meet me or attend our wedding because, in her words, she can't stand seeing her love married to a man she doesn't even like, living a lie. Ouch. I asked my wife if she loves me, and she said yes, but as a best friend. Yes, my own wife just friendzoned me. She broke down crying, apologizing for deceiving me. She admitted that when we met, we instantly clicked as friends, but her parents pressured her into marrying me, believing it would fix her. That explains why she was never affectionate, why she never wanted to hug, cuddle, or share romantic moments. It wasn't shyness, she simply didn't want to. I wanted to lose my temper, to yell, to cry, to run away. I had been patient and understanding every time she rejected my affection. I spent years feeling lonely, wondering if I was a bad husband, questioning if I was unknowingly mistreating her, doubting myself. But she assured me I was never the problem. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just left. I went to my sister's house. We haven't talked about divorce yet. Honestly, I don't even think my wife sees a problem with any of this. But I know one thing for certain, I don't want to spend my life in a loveless marriage with a woman who will never love me back. I'm sorry for the long post, I guess I'm just venting now. But I can't shake this feeling that I've wasted my youth. I didn't expect to update so soon, but I needed to talk about it. It's not that I don't feel bad for her, I do. But right now, I feel even worse for myself. Relevant comments. Alpine J, has she tried reaching out to you since you left? OP, no, not at all. But at least for today, I don't want to talk to her either. King Thunderflash, you need to divorce her and go completely no contact. You deserve so much better than a toxic woman who has lied to you for years. I'm sorry, OP. OP, I know I'm going to divorce her, though I haven't told her yet because I need some time to myself. I do feel empathy for her and have always seen her as a kind person, but realizing that she used me has completely changed my perception of her. Thank you for your support. Update. Maybe no one remembers my first 2 posts, but I wanted to share a final update to express my gratitude for all the kind comments and advice. They've been incredibly helpful to me. I returned home the day after my last update and found my ex-wife lying on the couch. As soon as I walked in, I told her, we're getting a divorce. It might not have been the best way to say it, but I know she tends to change the subject whenever I try to discuss serious matters, and I didn't want that to happen this time. She clearly wasn't expecting it and immediately broke down, having an anxiety attack while pleading that we couldn't get divorced, that I couldn't do this to us. What hit me the hardest was when she said, there's no point in us breaking up. The fact that I don't love you doesn't change anything. And the truth is, she was right. Looking back, our entire relationship had always been like that, her treating me more like a friend, and me just accepting it. She insisted that she never cheated, even after I explained the concept of emotional cheating again. I told her that since she isn't even attracted to men, there was no reason for us to stay married. I asked if she still loved her best friend, and while she didn't deny it, she kept insisting that we shouldn't get divorced. I understand why she was so desperate, but it made me feel used, like I was just a convenient cover for her, someone she could always rely on for the bare minimum of affection. But the truth is, I don't need her permission to get divorced. Whether she wants it or not, this marriage is over. I assured her that I wouldn't out her, but if people asked, I would simply tell the truth without mentioning her sexuality, as I don't want to fuel any gossip or assumptions. As for the house and the land, they belong to me, I inherited them from my grandfather. Maybe it makes me an asshole, but I told her I wouldn't be giving her anything since it's all mine. At that point, she just looked defeated and didn't argue, though I plan to consult a lawyer to make sure everything is handled properly. I told her she could stay in the house until December. She mentioned that she might have to move back in with her parents, which made me feel bad since they're not good people. But from what she said, she's still in touch with her best friend, so at least she won't be completely alone. The conversation ended on an awkward note, with me simply walking away. For now I'm staying at my sister's house. I can have time for myself since she and my other sisters are out of the province for a concert. I didn't talk with my ex-wife after that day and she didn't try to contact me, but I know that she told my ex-in-laws about the divorce because they wanted to contact me to ask why we're divorcing, but I just answered that these are things that need to be resolved only between her and me. So this will be probably my last update because I will go and see with my ex-wife after the divorce. We don't have childrens. Sometimes she started talks about having a baby and now I feel really relieved of always saying that I didn't felt ready. Maybe something in me was already telling me that she wasn't for me, so we don't have anything that tie us together. I have been going to the psychologist since I was a child, so I think that has helped me a lot to channel my emotions. Many in the comments said that I shouldn't have empathy or things like that for her, but we're both broken people that suffers from a religious trauma and I know how bad that messed to people's mind and heart. Some people in the comments were confused about why I stayed with her despite knowing she never loved me romantically. Honestly, I'm not sure myself. Maybe I justified her actions because I saw parts of myself in her. Maybe I have a hero complex, or perhaps my sense of duty was so strong that I felt bound to her, responsible for making her happy as her husband, even when she constantly rejected my romantic love. I don't know. That's something I'll be working through with my psychologist. I was also asked why I married her in the first place. Well, she was the one who suggested it. I was young and immature at the time, and since we got along well, I thought it was a good idea. Right now, my focus is on finalizing the divorce and spending time with my family. I feel numb and disconnected. I haven't even cried. During my last session, my psychologist mentioned that I may have already grieved this relationship long ago without realizing it. I don't feel like I've lost a wife, but rather a close friend and companion. It's not heartbreak, it's the pain of betrayal. Regardless, I no longer want anything to do with her. Maybe it makes me a bad person for walking away, knowing the kind of life she's had, but I can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. And honestly, I'm exhausted from trying. So, this is my goodbye, not to the woman I once saw as the love of my life, but to someone who was a good friend for many years. I'm incredibly grateful for all the kind comments, even the harsh ones that made me reflect on my reactions. Maybe I was too quiet about everything, is that wrong? I've never been the temperamental type. Sorry if this update is a bit dull and not the start of some dramatic villain era, that's just not who I am. But seriously, thank you all. Update. Hello. It's been a while since I last posted, and unfortunately, the mods deleted my final update twice. I don't know if anyone will read this, but my sister, who knows about my Reddit posts, recently showed me that someone shared my story on TikTok. Sadly, the account changed a lot of details, and after reading the comments, I saw people making all kinds of false assumptions about me. So, I want to clear a few things up. I didn't marry her because I wanted a submissive wife. We were more like best friends. I have no idea why people are assuming I expected a housewife, because I didn't. In fact, I encouraged her to work with me multiple times, but she never showed any interest in getting a job or studying. Since we were financially stable, I didn't push the issue. I was never planning to open the relationship for her. Thankfully, I realized I deserve better. To be honest, I had already sacrificed so much for her, I wasn't about to give up my own life as well. Some people might be okay with staying in a loveless marriage, but I'm not anymore. People keep saying I should help her and be generous with the divorce. But how do you help someone who doesn't want to be helped? I spent years trying, and now I keep discovering even more awful things she did behind my back, things I'd rather not even talk about. She used you because she was afraid of coming out. I understand that. I really do. But did I deserve to be used? Did I deserve for her to spend my money on gifts for her so-called best friend? I don't think so. We live in an accepting country, one of my sisters is openly lesbian and happily married. If my soon-to-be ex-wife had told me the truth, I would have supported her. She had countless opportunities to tell me the truth. Instead, she let me question my own self-worth while constantly insisting we should have a baby. Looking back, I realized she likely wanted that so she could secure something for herself if we ever divorced, since she never worked or pursued an education. Her best friend is actually married with a child. So no, my ex-wife isn't with her, and the whole situation is even more complicated than I thought. Honestly, I don't even want to get into that mess. My ex still insists she never physically cheated, and I think I believe her, at least on that. I also struggle with religious trauma, but having trauma doesn't make someone a bad person. It's something internal that we have to work through. No one forced her into marriage. In my country, arranged or forced marriages don't happen. When I asked her why she wanted to get married, she said her parents told her she needed to heal and that I was a good man for her. That's why she was so insistent on getting married. How it all ended. I'm in the process of getting divorced, but it's long and exhausting. I'm keeping the house, the car, everything. Am I being selfish? Maybe. But for once in my life, I wanted to put myself first. I worked hard for these things, and I dedicated my life to building my home. As for my ex-wife, she's currently living with her brother. She never once asked how I was doing, not even when I left the house after finding out the truth. But in the first few days, I did check in on her, sending messages to see how she was feeling. A few days ago, I had a mental breakdown because she keeps texting me, saying we should get back together, that we should have a child, something I never wanted, even though she constantly pushed for it, and that it doesn't matter if she never loved me because we lived well together, so I should just stay married for her. That made me realize she's only trying to manipulate me with guilt. It hit me that, to her, I'm not even a person, maybe not even a dog in her eyes. So, I finally blocked her number. I get that she's anxious about having nothing, but it's not like I never encouraged her to pursue an education or a career. At this point, I've given up. I'm exhausted. I don't know what she'll do with her life, but honestly, I don't care anymore. My psychologist helped me recognize the narcissistic traits she has, and I've accepted that I need to move on, for my own sake. I deserve that. I'm done being used. I don't know if anyone will read this, but I wanted to leave this post here because, unfortunately, people love to twist the story. Update. Hey, it's been a while. My previous posts were deleted, so I eventually gave up on trying to share a final update and moved on. But today, I noticed someone had reposted my story elsewhere, and since I've been getting private messages asking how I'm doing, I figured I'd give an update. I deleted my first post to make some edits. I'm officially divorced. I expected the process to take at least 8 months, But it was finalized much quicker than I thought since, in my country, only one person's signature is required to complete a divorce. Things got complicated when my ex realized we were truly separating. She even spread a false rumor that I had cheated, just so no one, especially not her parents, would question her. Now, they believe I was unfaithful, but honestly, I don't care. As I've always said, I got tired of trying to understand her and her choices. She became a major nuisance, even showing up at my house. I wanted nothing to do with her anymore, so I gave her some of the furniture and appliances, even though I paid for everything. It didn't matter, I just wanted her out of my life. Since she was a housewife, I figured she deserved something in the divorce, and I knew she would keep pestering me if I didn't give in. At that point, I was mentally drained and just wanted to move on. As far as I know, she's now in a relationship with an older woman and living with her. Whether she lied to me about her past or if this woman was someone she was already involved with, I don't know, and I don't want to know. It's her life. My sisters were furious when they found out and even wanted to confront her, but I told them not to, as she would only twist the situation to her advantage. I also discovered other things she did behind my back, but honestly, I'd rather not talk about it. I already feel like a fool. I just hope she can finally be happy and stop using people for her benefit. She clearly wasn't happy with me, and I want happiness for myself too. As for her best friend, I have no idea what happened to her. My sister knows that woman's wife, and to this day, they still post photos together with their baby. My sister considered saying something, but since there's no concrete proof, she decided not to. Overall, I've been doing well. I won't pretend it's been easy, but I'm handling it. Interestingly, I've noticed that people online seem to have more empathy for my ex than for me whenever I talk about this, but at this point, I don't care anymore. I refuse to see myself as a victim. My family and friends have been my biggest support system. I used to hold back a lot in therapy because I knew my psychologist would tell me the truth, and a part of me didn't want to hear it. But a few months ago, I finally opened up about everything that happened in my marriage. He didn't sugarcoat it, he called me out on certain things, but he also helped me realize just how much emotional and mental damage I endured. It may not have been physical abuse, but the impact was still significant. Even so, I don't see myself as a victim. I had plenty of chances to walk away, but I kept holding on like a fool. I refuse to let this define me. I've been a victim before, and I never want to feel that way again. Lately, I've been going out with my friends to clubs and enjoying myself. Since I got married so young, I missed out on a lot of my youth, juggling work, school, and maintaining a household. Now, I'm finally getting to experience the fun I didn't have back then. About a month ago, I started seeing someone. It's nothing serious, but we enjoy each other's company. It's a strange yet refreshing feeling to be with someone who actually makes me feel appreciated. She listens when I talk, and she doesn't seem bored by me. I've always been quiet. Some people have even called me sexist for saying I see that as a good thing, but I never considered it a flaw. She, on the other hand, is incredibly talkative, which makes our conversations lively and engaging. Looking back on my marriage, I've come to some difficult realizations. My ex-wife and I had little intimacy, which was partly due to my own trauma. I struggled to feel comfortable with physical closeness, and at the time, I thought she was simply being considerate of that. But now, I see things differently. Instead of supporting me through it, she used my trauma as an excuse to avoid any intimacy altogether. Whenever I tried to move past my fears, she'd shut it down, saying, "You know what? Let's stop this, or you'll have nightmares later." I was naive to believe it, she just didn't want to be close to me. However, this new person in my life has helped me start feeling comfortable again. I'm learning to enjoy myself in ways I never thought I could. Honestly, not much else has happened. I doubt most people even care about these updates, but I figured posting wouldn't hurt. After I gave my ex the furniture and appliances, she completely cut off contact. I've been focusing on myself, and while being divorced at my age feels strange, I see it as an opportunity for a fresh start. This whole experience, as painful as it has been, has taught me a lot. I'm choosing to move forward, for myself and for my family.